Okay, so let's talk about playback real quick. Finale does playback the music cue right into it. I don't use it that much for playback, but it's certainly helpful if you're writing a piece to hear it back, just to see just by ear if you've been doing something wrong. Um, so to get the playback, you need to go to Windows. So sorry, Window Playback and pull up the playback controls. And this just looks like any other type of playback control in a DAW or in a any kind of playback iPod or something you have. And so if you can press this to go all the way to the beginning, just press play, and you get a playback, and it'll play articulations. It'll do the best it can. It has features. If you go down, if you click on this little triangle, you get features. One of which is the what's called a human playback style. And what this will do is it'll kind of try to play back your music, giving it some sort of feel. In other words, it'll add some like weird randomness to it, so that it sounds a little more human. So let's say if the music is coming to a close, it'll actually slow down and those kinds of things. But that's just something you want to add for fun. So I don't have any of that selected now. You can also change the tempo of the piece. So let's say I do 200, and now I play the whole thing again. I'll just change the tempo. Okay, so that's that. Let's go back to 120. Okay. Now, one more thing about the speedy entry tool. And this may have happened when you first started to try to use it. You'll sometimes start typing in notes and you don't actually get anything. You just get rests when you're supposed to be getting notes. The reason for that is that it'll automatically the program will automatically think that you're trying to enter notes with a keyboard. So if you go under Speedy, you probably have this option checked, use MIDI device for input. If you uncheck it, it'll now just it'll just type notes as you do this. This is what I usually do. Now if you want to use a MIDI keyboard, obviously you have to have some kind of MIDI controller or keyboard. I have one plugged in now. So you can try playing notes. If you hear a note, which is what I'm doing now, then the device is working. If it isn't working, you'll have to set it up from MIDI audio, go to device setup and do MIDI internal speaker setup, and just make sure this if you check this box here, it'll automatically try to detect whatever device you plug in. If you use multiple ones for different channels, then you can go through this more kind of complicated setup here, but usually this should do the trick. So my device is called LPK25, but here you should be seeing the list, the name of the device that you're using. So if you want to enter notes using a keyboard, then you would actually have to press the keyboard and the key that corresponds to the note value at the same time. So for example, if I go down here, I do quarter notes. So what I did now is I didn't actually, once again, it's not listening to the rhythm I'm playing. It's just letting me type using a keyboard. So I'm using one hand to type rhythm with the keys. So I went go back down to C. I just went 5 5 5 5 while I was playing C D E C with the right hand on the keyboard. And then when I switched to half notes, then I press 6 instead. Okay, so that's the deal with that. That's still pretty quick, especially if you get used to this. You can type music really fast that way. Okay, if you want to change the instrument of the playback, because right now obviously you hear that it's a piano. Oh, this disappeared again. Here we go. It's going to play back piano, even though we didn't say piano, because this is a default document. It'll assume you're using it. You want to hear this back played with a piano sound. Now, if you were to create a violin instrument, then it'll automatically attach the sound or assign it the violin sound, and depending on what kind of instrument library you have set up, or it'll sound better. Some people purchase really expensive libraries, so the piano sound quite realistic because it uses samples. but we don't need to get into that right now. So under Window, if you go to Score Manager, you'll see this is the track. This is the staff we're using, and then right here it'll tell you which MIDI instrument it's using. So I can say if I go down to this list, I can change it to, I don't know, an oboe, right? And then when I play this back, it should now sound like an oboe.